Welcome to the Air Force Museum Space Gallery that is packed with out-of-this-world treasures like the Titan IV-B rocket, the X-15A hypersonic research aircraft, and historic space capsules from the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo programs. The X-15A set an unofficial altitude record of 354,200 feet on August 22, 1963, piloted by NASA's Joseph Walker, crossing the edge of outer space. Its high-altitude flights, launched from AB-52 mothership at 45,000 feet, provided invaluable data on re-entry dynamics and pilot physiology in near-space conditions. The program's 199 flights between 1959 and 1968 contributed significantly to the Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo space programs. Project Mercury was a key element in the U.S.-Soviet space race, restoring national confidence after the Soviet Union's early successes with Sputnik and Yuri Gagarin's flight in 1961. The Mercury missions, broadcast globally, showcased American technological prowess and established NASA's credibility, with John Glenn's orbital flight becoming a symbol of U.S. determination. The program's success, culminating in 22 total flights, 6 manned, directly influenced the development of more complex spacecraft and set the stage for lunar exploration, while fostering public support for space exploration. The Gemini-B, a modified version of NASA's Gemini spacecraft, was designed for the U.S. Air Force's Manned Orbiting Laboratory (MOL) program to ferry astronauts to a military space station for 30-day reconnaissance missions in polar orbit. Featuring a unique hatch through its heat shield, it allowed crew access to the MOL's laboratory module, where they would operate the KH-10 Dorian camera system for high-resolution photographic surveillance of Cold War adversaries. Although canceled in 1969 before manned flights, the Gemini-B's test flight on November 3, 1966, validated the heat shield hatch design during a suborbital re-entry, contributing to future space station and reconnaissance technology. Apollo 15's command module was uniquely equipped with a scientific instrument module bay containing cameras, spectrometers, and a sub-satellite to collect data on the Moon's surface, magnetic fields, and solar particles. While in lunar orbit, astronaut Alfred Wardens operated the SIM-Bay instruments and performed the first deep space extravehicular activity to retrieve film canisters, demonstrating the module's role in active scientific operations. The data gathered, including high-resolution images and gamma-ray measurements, provided insights into lunar geology and informed future planetary exploration missions. Project Excelsior addressed critical high-altitude escape challenges by testing a balloon-lifted gondola and a multi-stage parachute system designed to prevent deadly flat spins during ejection. Conducted at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, the project's success provided vital data for pilot safety and influenced future aerospace escape systems. Project Stargazer, launched in 1962, was a U.S. Air Force and Navy initiative to conduct high-altitude astronomical observations using a manned balloon, reaching 82,200 feet to study star brightness variations. The mission, involving Captain Joseph Kittinger and astronomer William White, utilized a stabilized telescope but was discontinued after one flight due to funding cuts. The Martin Marietta X-24A, a bulbous, wingless aircraft, was developed under the Joint Air Force-NASA pilot program to test lifting body concepts for unpowered re-entry and landing, a technology later utilized by the Space Shuttle. Its teardrop shape with 3 vertical fins provided lift and directional control, allowing it to glide back to Earth after being drop-launched from a modified B-52 at 45,000 feet. The X-24A flew 28 times between 1969 and 1971, reaching speeds up to 1,036 miles per hour, Mach 1.6, and altitudes of 71,400 feet, validating the feasibility of wingless spacecraft landings. Martin Marietta's X-24B's first glide flight occurred on August 1, 1973, with powered flights using the XLR-11 rocket engine beginning shortly after. It conducted both powered ascents and unpowered glides, landing on the dry lake bed at Edwards Air Force Base, demonstrating the feasibility of precise, runway-like landings for future spacecraft. The program's 36 flights validated low lift-to-drag ratio handling, directly influencing NASA's shuttle program and crew return vehicle designs. The Boeing X-40A conducted its first free-flight drop test in August 1998 at Holloman Air Force Base, followed by 7 additional glide tests under NASA's guidance at Edwards Air Force Base in 2001. Released from a helicopter, the 22-foot-long, 2,600-pound craft autonomously glided for about 75 seconds, reaching speeds over 300 miles per hour and landed horizontally on a runway. These tests successfully demonstrated the X-40's ability to handle wind gusts and maintain stability, providing critical data for the X-37B's development. The 1985 successful test of the Vought ASM-135A that intercepted the Solwind P-78-1 satellite at 345 miles altitude raised orbital debris concerns and prompted Congress to ban further space target tests, resulting in the $5.3 billion program's termination. The Gambit KH-7's ability to cover wide swaths of territory, up to 1,200 miles per pass, made it a cornerstone of U.S. intelligence gathering, with each mission returning up to 9,000 feet of film for analysis. Achieving 38 missions with 30 successes between 1963 and 67, it verified arms control agreements and mapped enemy infrastructure until replaced by the KH-8 series. Employed between 1966 and 84, the KH-8 could return up to 14,000 feet of film per mission, providing continuous intelligence until the satellite's orbit decayed or film was exhausted. Its technological advancements over the KH-7, including improved resolution and longer mission durations, made it a critical asset for national security until replaced by digital imaging satellites. The KH-9 Hexagon, also known as Big Bird, was a series of photographic reconnaissance satellites launched by the United States between 1971 and 1986, designed to capture high-resolution images of Soviet military capabilities. Its advanced camera system achieved a ground resolution better than 0.6 meters, with film returned to Earth in recoverable capsules for processing. The Fairchild C-119J flying boxcar, modified for mid-air recovery, played a pivotal role in the Corona spy satellite program by retrieving film capsules returning from orbit. On August 19, 1960, this C-116J from Hickam Air Force Base made history by successfully snagging the parachute of the Discoverer-14 satellite at 8,000 feet, marking the first aerial recovery of an object from Earth orbit. This capability enabled the U.S. to obtain critical reconnaissance imagery during the Cold War, with the C-119J performing several such recoveries in the early 1960s. The Teal Ruby satellite, also known as P-80-1 or AFP-888, was an experimental early warning satellite developed by Rockwell International to test infrared sensors for detecting enemy aircraft over polar regions during the Cold War. Intended for launch on the Space Shuttle in the early 1980s, it was canceled after the 1986 Challenger disaster and later used to study equipment aging and storage. Lockheed Martin's Titan IV-B's robust design, featuring a stretched core stage and improved avionics, supported 17 successful launches out of 22 attempts, with notable missions including the deployment of the Defense Support Program satellites for missile warning systems. Despite its high cost, estimated at $350 to $450 million per launch, it was a cornerstone of U.S. space launch capabilities until replaced by the Atlas V and Delta IV rockets. The Boeing IUS, initially called the Interim Upper Stage, was pivotal in deploying NASA's tracking and data relay satellites and interplanetary probes like Ulysses, using its solid rocket motors to achieve precise orbital insertions. Managed by NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center, it was launched from either the Space Shuttle or Titan rockets, with its final mission in 2004 deploying a U.S. Air Force satellite. The Defense Support Program satellites have provided uninterrupted missile warning and surveillance for over 5 decades, with each satellite weighing approximately 5,200 pounds and operating for up to 10 years in geosynchronous orbit at 22,300 miles above Earth. Their data has been pivotal for treaty verification and tactical response, transitioning to the space-based infrared system as the program was phased out. We've toured the space gallery from the Mercury and Gemini capsules to the Teal Ruby and Defense Support Program satellites, and I hope you're as inspired as I am by these incredible pieces of history. Hit that subscribe button, share your favorite exhibit in the comments, and stay tuned for more adventures from the National Museum of the U.S. Air Force.